First of all, you don't know me.
We're all about that high school drama girl, all about them high school queens. We'll take you for a ride in our comic girl, cheering for the right team. Drama queens, smart girl, rough girl, fashion but you're tough girl. You could sit with us, girl. Drama queens, drama queens, drama queens, drama queens, drama queens.
Well, hello, everyone.
We have a treat today, guys.
We sure do.
Are we allowed to call him a treat?
He's a snack.
He's a snack, right? Yeah.
A total snack treat.
Drama Queens, friends, and fam. We have none other than our very own Austin Nichols, Julian Baker, here with us today to talk about the inception of his character. Should we bring him in here?
Oh,
Please?
Julian Baker, that bad boy, do it.
Where is he? Hey!
There you are.
Here I am.
You look so sharp with this haircut, Austin. The last time we saw you, you looked like Jesus. What's going on right now?
Yeah.
You know, I had long hair for a while, and I've just been a bum over here in Texas. And then when I saw you guys in November, I had a mullet for Halloween.
You did.
That's right.
So what spawned the cleanup?
Yeah, I'm planning to direct this movie here in the spring in Austin, Texas. And we're raising money and we're starting that whole process. We've been at it for a while, and it's an indie comedy about a struggling, beloved, but crappy public golf course. And it's like dodgeball. It's about a family who just wants to protect their silly little home. And it's real sweet and real funny. And it's kind of based on a true place, a real place here in Austin that I grew up. So there's that. And then I fell back in love with the short story, which I did a lot of in college. And I've been doing that. And I have a couple of them up on Kindle and Apple Books. And people are starting to read them. And that's been really satisfying.
He's real life Julia Baker. It's like, did we all just morph into who we played?
It feels like we did.
Isn't that funny? That is funny, isn't it?
Did you write the screenplay for the film that you're getting ready to direct now, too?
I did not write this one. And it's surprising because I always thought that the first movie I directed, I would write. But my friend Drew wrote this, and I read it, and I just flipped out. I was like, we got to do it.
Awesome.
I'm so happy to see all of you. And it's always such a treat and such a pleasure. It's not often that, you work on something for so much of your life, especially young formative years. And anytime I see you guys, my heart just, melts. And it's truly special to be a part of this whole story.
Yeah.
Well, we saw you for the first time last episode, and Sophia and I had quite a time talking shit about you. It was real fun. So for this episode, but we only got a glimpse of you last episode. So for this one, this was like a super Julian heavy episode. They threw a ton of shit at you super, super fast. First question is, have you ever watched the show? Did you watch yourself in it when we were doing it?
So I don't think, because I just watched my first 2 episodes this morning. Ooh. And I don't think I ever watched those. Because I'm literally watching the show with fresh eyes going, I don't think I ever saw these episodes. And it's weird now because with social media, people put clips and scenes. I've seen like Peyton and Julian in LA. Like I've seen those scenes, or I've seen like memes. So they're very familiar. But a lot of the other scenes with all the other characters, I was like, I mean, I couldn't believe what James was doing with slam ball. I'm like, this guy's a professional athlete. Yeah. I don't think I ever saw them. And so I was watching them with fresh eyes, and it was really fun. And also the one thing I was struck by was when I see you, Hilarie, at Trick at the bathrooms.
Yeah.
And the shit that came out of my mouth, I was like, what a motherfucker. At the time, I wasn't aware of what I was doing.
Yeah. Well, this is perfect because we have to read the synopsis. We have to tell the audience what episode we're doing, what happened in this episode. Will you do the honors? Will you do this for us?
Okay, here we go. Synopsis, episode 609, season 6, episode 9, Sympathy for the Devil. Air date, November 3rd, 2008. Jamie and Haley really worry that Nathan might injure himself playing slam ball. Lucas agonizes over whether or how to write the key script scene Julian demands, Keith's death. Peyton wrestles with the right time to tell Lucas about her and Julian's past relationship. Owen pulls some of Brooke's own moves on her to get her attention. Favorite scene. Marvin is struggling to define boundaries with Gigi.
Ooh.
Oh,
Great.
director Bradley Walsh, writer Mike Daniels.
Oh, we love Mike
Daniels.
Daniels.
Mike. I actually got some interesting info from Mike about this episode.
did?
I think it's this episode. It might be the next one, but it's better if I bring it up later. It'll fit in later.
Ooh, okay.
Okay.
Mystery.
Bury the lead.
But I want to close the loop on this weird thought I was having, because I think sometimes when I'm playing characters, it probably happens to a lot of actors, might be you guys. I play a lot of bad guys, and I guess I just, drink my own Kool-Aid, and I just think I'm like not that bad of a guy. I remember doing these scenes, and like people in the crew are coming up to me going, "Wow, you're really scared. Like you're playing a bad dude." People in the crew always say stuff like that to me, and I'm like, really? Why?
Yeah. What are you seeing?
I'm so clueless when it comes to this.
Are you a method actor, Austin? Because you did come on to
question.
that set. Here's the thing, because we all had been living together, for so many years at this point, and you came in the new guy, and you were just like, I'm cooler than you guys. And also, I'm really handsome. And there was such a likability to it, because it was like, this motherfucker knows he's cool. Like, okay,
Really?
neat. Yeah, it was very Julian.
Yeah. I mean, I don't claim to be a method actor, and I don't really stay in character. There are moments sometimes where I like to steal from the method a little bit. And often it's stupid stuff like breathing heavy. And I want to like run around the building a couple of times. It's stupid stuff like that. But staying in character for, 9 months, that's, I'd go crazy. It's not.
Yeah.
So this episode kicks off. It's so nice that the strike is over, because we actually get to talk about episodes with guests that come on now. Before we were just having to like make shit up every time people came on. This episode, tell us what you like. Sometimes we go in order. Sometimes we just jump to the shit we liked.
Okay. And real quickly, I had to say one more thing before we get to that. Do you mind?
I love it.
So, a while back, whenever you guys started the podcast, I heard that you guys were doing this. And I was like, oh, that's cool. They're doing a podcast. That maybe they'll call me.
Oh, we did.
And then all this time went by, and I was like, are they mad at me? Why haven't they called?
Oh, buddy.
And then I found out that you're doing it each episode,
In order.
they're not going to call me for 6 years.
Yeah, but then even when we reached out, we couldn't get a hold of your team. And so you guys at home, last night, Sophia and I are like feverishly texting Austin. We're like, dude, where are you at? Where are you at?
What are you
We're
doing? Are
recording
you free tomorrow morning? What's going on?
What are you doing?
I'll got my number. You know me. I'm in.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are proud of you. You showed up last minute. Yeah, tell us what the hits were for you. What were you into?
Yeah.
Joe Manganiello is really fun to watch.
Yeah.
And Brooke's relationship with him is really fun. And also, I didn't really realize that I was coming in on the heels of that. So that was fun for me to see. And Slam Ball, like I said before, so impressive. James Lafferty, wow. These Lucas's wide shirts.
Oh yeah. That was brand new.
Huge fan.
Yep. Collarbone's hot.
Yeah, I wore a blazer in the flashback scene with you, Hilarie, at the copy machine that had
My favorite.
questionable stitching on the back.
Yeah. Bats.
Yeah.
There were bats on the back of your jacket.
There were? I didn't notice that.
Yeah.
So fun watching it. What else stands out? Seeing Jamie and Sam with their teaching him how to be a little crook is really, really satisfying.
Yeah.
There were a lot of layers in this episode.
There was so much.
Yeah, there really was. But it flowed very well. I mean, Mike Daniels.
You know what I loved? I thought was so well done was the Brooks, Gucci, her 4 things.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
sort of-
Gold Godiva Gucci Gerber. Loved it.
the Gerber pun was genius.
Gerber daisies, yeah.
Yeah, because Gerber baby food. And I was like, oh my God, that's really good. And then when Joe did his with, PlayStation and that, I was like, that's really great.
Cute.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bookends, man.
We got some nice comedy and callbacks in this episode for sure.
Yeah. And it's also, there's some fun, and I'm also speaking about last episode too, but there's some fun industry winks and jokes in there when Sophia says, CW actresses and all these people that you guys want to play you is really fun. And, getting to say, Julian getting to say stuff about Sundance and, hiring another writer. And it's just all this industry jargon that I thought was so fun.
When they brought you in and you got hired, what did they tell you about this character? What did you know and what did you not know? If you can remember.
Well, I remember, getting pitched to do it. I don't remember a lot about the character. I think I was told, he comes from LA. He had a thing with Peyton. We're going to explore that in a flashback. Nobody knows that. That's a secret from her past. And then but you're gonna end up falling for Brooke. That's all I really knew.
Okay, so you knew the basics.
Yeah.
This is good.
Yeah.
They didn't totally spring it on you.
You get to kiss every girl on the show. Congratulations.
I never got to
this is
almost.
That job sounds dumb.
She was married.
They married me off, man.
They married you off real young.
They did.
Right. How old were you when you got married?
In real life?
No, on the show.
Haley got married, I think she was 17, right? Wasn't
16 or 17, right?
Still in high school, or was it right out of high school?
It was senior year. Still in high school. Wait, but I actually gave birth graduation. So that would make maybe I was 16 when I got married.
Yeah, because your parents had to give you permission.
Yeah.
Ooh, that is some Southern stuff. Love it.
It doesn't get more Southern than that. Boy. I loved Peyton and Julian together in this episode. It was a really, Hilarie, wait, I have to find my actual note here because it says, copy machine. That scene is why you're an indie movie queen, which feels like it should be a lyric in a song. But you are so good in that scene, the way you were walking down the hallway and rushed into the copy room, and both of you guys, like how you managed to have a pickup moment in the middle of this really emotional situation was it worked so well, and it's a really delicate line to toe. So well done, both of you.
Hey, thanks.
Thank you.
Remember how awkward that was? Because the way this is written, we both say some of the most conceited shit ever to each other in this. Like, look, don't pick me up right now. I'm having a moment. Like everything is so like.
It's so direct, though. Come on, that's so great. How badly do you want to say that to somebody sometimes?
It's presumptuous in a way that's like, oh God, we're going to say that out loud? Christ. And I remember really struggling with that. Like, I would never say something like this. How do I do this? And I had already filmed all these flashbacks with Lucas and like all the sad shit with Lucas a year ago. And so a year later, Austin and I had to pick up all of these flashbacks and then move them forward like they were all continuous things with what we shot a year ago. It was confusing. I felt like I was living in some sort of like sliding doors reality because I'm like, I don't even know what's real.
It's so hard to convey, a meaningful relationship in a handful of scenes. And that, we have the stuff, the first date, the copy room, the date, and then we go to a bedroom and then leaving for Sundance, and it happens so fast.
And you break up.
Yeah. And I was like, oh my God, that was so fast. But I kind of feel like, I got the information I needed. I thought it was, pretty well executed by everyone.
I agree.
They told Austin and I to go to dinner. Somebody gave us the directive to go to dinner. Do you ever go to the bistro and it just being so like awkward?
Oh my God, I forgot about that. That's hilarious. Yes, I remember.
It was a very awkward dinner because they were like, great. So in the next episode, I know you guys just met. We're going to have to convey the entirety of your relationship in 4 scenes. So if you guys could actually get to know each other, be comfortable with each other, you're going to have to straddle them, Hilarie. Like, have some fries and the steak at the fucking bistro. And so I picked Austin up and it was just like, oh, okay.
Tell me all about your life as quickly as possible.
Welcome.
But the best thing that I think helped us, and I can't remember the timeline of when it happened, is when you told me about this ghost story and we drove down that road and I literally saw Hilarie did not tell me what the story was. She just said, we're going to see what happens. And I saw the silhouette of a woman in a dress hanging from a tree. And do you remember this?
I do. And I remember it being kind of a test. I'm like, let's see if he's cool. Let's see what he can say.
Does he have a twinge of ESP or not?
Or is he just like a creep who buys in, which is my favorite?
Right. No, but I swear I only have, Sophia and I share a ghost story.
Mm-hmm. We heard about this one.
Oh, yeah.
And, you and I do. And I only have like one other one in my life. So, I'm not the kind of guy to make this kind of stuff up. I have 3 really strange ghost stories, and, 2 of them are with you 2 ladies.
Yeah. Well, Wilmington is famously one of the most haunted places in America. So it tracks.
Yeah.
It's 66% of your ghost stories have occurred in this group in that town.
It's wild.
It's really wild.
So did they just offer you the part? Did you read for this thing? What was the deal?
Yeah, I want you to tell the people what you were told, and then I'll tell the people what I was told. Honey.
Oh boy!
It came around, and I said no at first, and I think that that works. They're like, oh,
gotta have them.
Try again, and so I went in and had a meeting, and was pitched kind of what I said before. It was, I don't remember. It was a long time ago. I don't really remember a lot of the meeting. But then I remember the offer coming back around. Said, my manager was like, you got to take the meeting. Just take the meeting. You don't have to do it. Just take the meeting. And, that's, I got sold, and I wanted to do it. And I'm so glad I did, because, look what it turned into. One thing that I'm really proud of, is I haven't really gotten a lot of memorable, the jobs of my life. I didn't get them from auditioning. I got them because I went to a place and it turned into something more. Mm-hmm. And that's, I don't know, that's something I really love. And it's, but yeah, as far as I don't remember a lot, but I want to hear what you guys have to say, because I don't remember a lot about that. I just remember, saying yes, and then getting on a plane. Oh, one quick thing that's not related. Back then, I was cutting my own hair with I had really short hair. I was just cutting it with clippers in my bathroom. And the night before I was supposed to get on the plane to come to Wilmington, I was doing it. And back here, the guard fell off.
Oh, God.
Perfect.
And I shaved a line in the back of my head like a lawnmower.
Oh,
just the runway.
No.
I went, oh, what am I going to do?
This is the day before you felt. Wait, when was this? The day before?
The night before.
The night before. Oh,
and I was so embarrassed. And I told my team to tell everybody, alert everybody, tell them that I had this terrible accident. I'm so sorry. I get there. I go into hair and makeup. And they literally, Carrie's mom. What was Carrie's mom's name?
Julie.
Yeah, Julie Delaney.
Julie goes, okay. And they radioed and Greg Crane's came in the door like a gorilla. Greg Crane's going, what's going on? And Greg Crane's looked at the back of my hair and he goes, oh, God. They had to shave my hair way shorter. And I even remember they had to fill it in with this black, this.
Oh, it's called Topics.
Yeah. And they did the little air, balloon. Yeah. Fill it in, used makeup, all this stuff.
It looks like a perfume diffuser for those of you at home who don't know what this is. It's like a hair and makeup trailer trick, and it looks like a little bottle, little jar with a lid on it, but it has a perfume. It's a diffuser. Is that what it's called? Or
like a little round squeezy ball.
Squeezy thing, but it's for hair. So little fibers of hair come out of it onto people's beards, or apparently the backs of their heads, or whatever is needed.
Yeah. And they had to also shave my head much shorter, cut it much shorter so that it wouldn't, you couldn't see it. And in hindsight, it made Julian much scarier.
Yeah.
Because he looks so much like Lucas too. You guys had the same haircut anyway. So it was an interesting,
that kind of hair, guys tend to sometimes just look a little bit more sketchy.
Yeah, it ups the villain energy for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. So in hindsight, I'm glad it happened, because I came off a little bit more threatening, and then it gave it somewhere to go, over the next, 4 seasons, and what Julian and Brooke would grow into. But anyway, my hat's off to the team because I never noticed it. I never saw it in any scene.
Yeah, I didn't track it. I'm too busy looking at Jamie's big old fake tooth, man.
Yeah.
I can't stop looking at that kid's tooth.
That sweet little boy.
So now I got to hear your side of what you heard about me being cast.
Well, okay.
Well, come on.
So, for our friends
You've
at
been
home.
on Surface.
Yeah.
Right? I was in North Carolina and I met you guys, or some of you.
Did we play you in the softball game that we did for Hurricane Katrina? Were you in that fundraiser?
I was there, but I didn't play. I came, stopped by, and was in the crowd, and I saw you guys playing. I saw these beautiful people playing softball, and I was like,
oh, this mother. Because here's the deal. I didn't like the Surface gang because they talked a lot of shit to us, and they were like, hey, we're a network show. You guys are CW.
You did have a chip on your shoulder about that. You were always gabbing about that.
Pissed.
I was just like, who do these bitches think they are? I didn't love it. And like, I would get taken to parties that Surface would throw, and they were really mean. And so you being a Surface guy, it felt like someone from your rival high school coming in. And that's all I knew. I was like, we are not going to get along.
Oh, no wonder you didn't want to go to dinner.
isn't that funny? And then canceled in the middle of season 1, and you guys go on to do 9.
Nice.
We brought you back. Well, that's where we first met, Austin, because back then, remember, we had the same manager.
Yes, we did.
And she was like, oh, my other client's in Wilmington. And I don't even remember where we went, but I remember us walking down Front Street.
Did he take you to the bistro?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know. But it was our season 3. And, I had been through a not great breakup and decided I hated men. And sweet Austin Nichols came along and took me on my first date since that.
What a prince.
And so we'd been in each other's lives for a really long time. And when you came to Wilmington, I blew a gasket. I was like, what the is happening? I've gone out with 3 people in a decade and one of them's here. What's happening? I totally lost my shit. And I remember our bosses being like, don't worry. There's this amazing thing with him and Peyton, and you guys will never interact on camera, is what they said to me. What? Cut to our characters got married and had 2 kids. And I was like, I've been duped, but I'm not mad at it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
They played matchmaker for us in the weirdest way, which I'm like, is that appropriate for your bosses to do? But also it was such a sweet season.
Yeah.
So
I remember hearing things like that and rumblings of that, and sort of, probably not just on this show and others, but on this show it seemed pointed. There was a lot of mining of your life, and for better or worse. But that is interesting,
I just love that we got totally different stories. And we obviously, you're here and we were just giggling about how much fun we all had in Wilmington. We've maintained such a close friendship for, almost 20 years now. And our sweet history is also such a lovely part of our journey. But it is so funny to me that this pack of adults was
Puppet
literally
Masters, man.
playing 2 20-something-year-old kids. I was like, God, you guys are nuts.
Could you imagine doing that at our age?
No, I can't imagine being an adult who would do that
No.
In a million years.
to my child employees.
No.
But we all sort of won the lottery because look at us now.
It worked out great.
Ayo.
Yeah. And also it's so funny because you're young and you're getting work and you're excited and there's so much going on, I think. And then you're just thrust into this really, really intense, difficult, challenging career. And you just go, oh, okay, this is how this works.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And, there's no, I feel that's my experience anyway. And I was like, I remember many times in my career going, really? That's what we're doing? Oh, okay. I guess that's just how it's been done for 60 years.
Mm-hmm.
And, luckily a lot of that has been, hopefully, is changing, has changed, will keep changing, and headed for a better place.
Was it weird for you? We talked about some of the things that you've worked on, and you'd been in Wilmington before shooting Surface, which was such a big show. You had been on,
John from
massive,
Cincinnati.
your massive HBO show.
Deadwood.
Like, you worked on all of these incredible projects. Did having all that experience under your belt make it easier to jump in on the, middle of a season 6 of a show, or was it intimidating to come in to this thing that was by then a big machine?
It's terrifying, especially when the family, whether we call it that or not, the family is formed and the group is formed, and on this show, the teams have formed and different factions, so and then you're playing catch up and learning about the politics. So it's really hard. It's really scary and terrifying. I think my outwards, of what I projected was, I don't care, I'm not getting involved. But, inside, you're so scared, and you just want to be liked. You want to do a good job. You want to be well received. You want the audience to care about, like what you did. It's all about love in the end. And it's, and I've experienced that on lots of other shows, coming in, to The Walking Dead and, later seasons, or, something else. I don't like it.
What do you mean?
Luckily, you have to learn to do it. And my go-to is to give as much as I can and try to be there for the other actors and the crew, and hope that they want to keep me around. That's kind of how I've always approached it is, how can we do this in the healthiest way? And I don't know, like I was saying before, like a lot of my opportunities haven't come from winning the audition. They came because I got to a place and they said, let's do more with that guy.
I think those are the things that make a lot of series regular actors feel safe on a set when somebody new comes in. The fact that you're able to just put your head down, do your work, show up, and you're there to serve, you're there to give. And there's something about that that's like, oh, this person isn't looking for us to make them feel accepted, to make them fill a void. You're just self-regulating, you're handling your own and showing up to help and serve however you can, which is really what we're all there to do. And those kinds of things are what make people feel safe, not just cast, but crew and producers as well. So it's no surprise that you are continually called back for work with all the same people.
He's just a flirt. He flirts with the grips. He flirts with the camera department. He flirts with his co-star. He's a flirt. And I'm still mad about it, Austin.
God bless you, Hilarie, for just bringing it back to...
You just...
Look how red he is. Oh, honey.
Austin walks into every room and he's like, I'm going to make these bitches love me. Like, that's... I watched you do it on The Walking Dead. Jeffrey got to gut you over it. I loved it.
I did want to mention that, Hilarie emailed last night and was like, I want to tell a story about I have a crush on you. And I was like, well, don't do that, because Jeffrey already gutted me on another TV show.
Yeah.
And let's not throw more fuel on the fire.
No, he can do it again. Do I tell him this story now?
We need that story.
Oh my God, yes.
I only told Sophia this story for the first time. We were just in Wilmington in November. We're never going to talk about this episode.
We were cackling.
So when we were all in Wilmington for the convention in November, we went over, we were at Bevan's house, and maybe we were talking about your mullet. I don't even know how it got brought up, but I was talking about how, when I met you, you were the surface guy, and I was like, I don't know, not impressed. We'll see. And then by the time we'd finished filming this episode and our characters had really great chemistry together, and you were asking so many questions. You were just like, who do you hang out with outside of work here? Oh my God, you want to produce movies? Can I read the script you have? Cool, I've already learned all the names of all the crew members on the call sheet. Aren't I likable? And I was like, well, who is this? And I did not know, friends, that Sophia and Austin had hung out. Hilarie had zero idea that had ever happened.
I never told anybody my business. What do you want from me?
I have been in a relationship for the first 5 years of this show. I'm finally single. This fucking tall guy shows up and is like, hey, do you want to hang out outside of work? I'll come help you and your best friend Nick make little independent movies. For those of you who haven't seen True Love Tale of Boyfriend and Girlfriend, you should Google that. And so Austin is being so charming and so cool. And instead of like being downtown like a lot of the rest of us, he's got a beach house and he is Julian Baker. He is just so cool and frustratingly likable. So one of our crew members was this guy, Scotty, and he decided he was an amateur wrestler. You're nodding your head. Do you remember this night?
How could I forget going to Saber's wrestling match?
Oh my God, Saber's wrestling match.
Yeah. So Saber invites the entire crew to the Armory in Wilmington to come see his wrestling match. And like Saber's like saber-toothed tiger. And naturally, Austin and I have been hanging out outside of work. And I don't know which one of us suggested it, but we were going to go together. And I'm like, hey, man, I'm going to paint my face like a saber-toothed tiger. And you're like, oh, my God, would you paint my face like a saber-toothed tiger? And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to do that. And so I go over to Austin's beach house and I have to cradle this man's beautiful little face in my hands. And I'm painting saber teeth and like fucking stripes and stuff on Austin's face. My face is fully painted like a saber-toothed tiger. And I'm like, are we going to kiss? We're not going to kiss. Our faces are so close. We're not going to kiss. We're not going to kiss. We're just friends. Like, this is so uncomfortable. And later I'm thinking, we're going to kiss all this face paint off. This is going to be awesome later. Very messy. Awesome. And so we're driving to the Armory, and then we have to go pick up James Vanderbeek. And Vanderbeek's like, I want to be a saber.
I was hoping you were going to remember that.
Beek's like, you got to paint my face too. So we come rolling 3 deep in face paint to the local Armory, which is a very rough and tumble scene to root for Saber. And I am having the time of my life. And I know it's not a date, but I'm also like, why else would this man let me paint his face? Like, this is fun. And then all of a sudden, Austin looks really distracted, like looking over my shoulder. And I was like, oh, what's he looking at? And I turn around and Sophia has entered the Armory in like a cashmere turtleneck and a tweed blazer. And there's a wind machine and that song Dreamweaver is playing, you know? And there's just like God rays from like the sunlight dying, coming like shining on her glossy hair. And I see heart emojis in Austin's eyeballs. And I just turn around and I can still feel it in my bones. The, oh no. I had so seriously misjudged that situation.
Oh my God.
And so then I had to sit there for a whole other hour in face paint and know that I was a f***ing goober. And then James Vanderbeek wanted to go to dinner afterwards in the face paint.
Did we all go to dinner?
Beek and I did. I don't know what the f*** you did, Austin. You were probably busy, not rubbing your face paint off. But I was such an awkward single person that I cherish that memory of just like, it's going to happen. I felt like every girl in every 90s rom-com who like thinks they're going to go to the party and it's going to work out. And it didn't in such grand fashion. I knew it was going to be a good story in the moment. And so even now, every time I see Saber, I think about it. I think I'm just like, wrestling match. There's pictures of it somewhere.
Have you seen Saber? Just sidebar, have you seen him?
I see him on Facebook all the time. No, he's really successful.
That story's amazing, by the way, and I love it.
God.
Listen, you screwed the pooch, Austin.
I know.
You had your chance.
But one thing I just want to put out there, I hope Scotty hears this, is that I had no idea the process that he went through. And he'd be like, yeah, man, I'm at the gym. And I would see him at the gym getting ready. And then he'd do the tanning and he bleached his hair. And he did all this stuff. And he told me about
the shaving.
Boots that cost $1,500 and they're custom.
All the custom outfits.
And I thought, this is the most incredible little underworld microcosm. I just thought it was so cool.
That was a wild. Yeah. That was another universe walking into that Armory. Everything all set up that way and all the guys in the costume.
And then like guys hitting each other with folding chairs.
The folding chairs.
I was like, what are we doing?
I remember going to one where Scotty was the winner and it was like all his friends and family, and then going to another one where he was the bad guy.
Oh yeah. I remember
the other
that.
guy brought all his friends and family, and it was like, this is so cool.
Yeah, that was a good scene. And something so specific to Wilmington, like I can't imagine if we were filming in LA or New York that the entire cast and crew would gather around Ye Armory and root for amateur wrestling.
Yeah, that was part of the summer camp vibe of the whole thing, right?
Yeah.
We were all,
dug it.
even though we were living there, it still felt like we were on location or traveling.
Well, because it was so small and so niche. And it's interesting you use that word, like the summer camp vibe. That's what this whole episode felt like to me. Your guys' flashbacks were obviously setting a tone. And to your point earlier, Hilarie had to catch the audience up in one episode on the history of these two characters. But most of this episode has like humor and group comedy and like, I don't know, everybody's stuff is kind of funny and upbeat and silly. And the whole dynamic with Sam and Jamie, her teaching him to like hustle kids for ho-hos
Hysterical.
is so funny.
You taking the snack bag out of the machine at the end? Hysterical.
Just like, well, if it's open.
Is that a little improv, Sophia? Did you just grab that or did they write that?
I don't know. At that point,
I feel like that was an improv.
Snacks are snacks.
it might have just been me. It might have just been me wanting a snack.
There was a lot of comedy, a lot of nostalgia comedy with Owen in the back seat. Hilarious. You beating him out of your car with your purse.
It's funny when I do it. It's not funny when you do it. Yeah.
So funny.
By the way, maybe the funniest line is him saying, "At least you said I'm big."
At least you think I'm huge. It was so funny.
So, okay, I think it's when Mike Daniels texted me, he said, I think it's this episode, which I hope it is. But do you remember, Soph, when you guys had to do reshoots because the film went through the X-ray machine at the airport?
What?
So, okay. So what they used to do before we switched to digital, for those of you who don't know, was they would film it and then it would be an actual film and you weren't supposed to send it through the X-ray machine at the airport because it was film. So it would get damaged. There's a very specific process that was always taken to get the film from Wilmington to LA. And for some reason, film ended up like from this whole day in somebody's bag that went through the airport screening machine. It was ruined. But what Mike said happened was that because they had to do a reshoot of some day, I think in this episode, they realized that they thought it would be better to do Julian and Brooke together sooner. And so they decided to end Brooke and Owen early. Originally, I think whatever you guys had shot was not that. Like that wasn't the plan and they added it in or something later. Do you remember any of this?
Yes. Wait.
That's ringing a bell. That they made him shoot.
Because they were just going to plow on with Joe. Everything was going to be fine.
No, but it is ringing a bell because when we did the scene where Joe's naked in my car and I get him out of the car, there was supposed to be the exchange at the end where I'm in his car. And as I'm watching the scene to prep for today, I was like, wait, I tell him we can't date because I have to go be a role model to Sam. Like in my brain, I was expecting us to agree to give it another shot. And so as I was watching that scene, I was like, God, I don't remember this, that I just ended. Like, I mean, I guess it makes sense, because of what Haley says that I overhear with Sam and Jamie, but that makes sense why it felt off to me because I remember the original way we shot it.
Yeah, and getting in the back seat to be cute, but only to tell him that you decided you're not going to be together. It was strange.
It was a dump
kind of
cute.
made it work with Sam. Yeah, it was a dump cute.
A gentle dumping.
Oh my God, I've never heard that. We have to use that more.
The next 3 times I saw Joe Manganiello, he was like not super thrilled with me.
Oh, really?
No, I'm kidding.
Oh, stop. I saw Joe at an audition like a year later in Los Angeles, and I was just like, he's like, you're not still in Wilmington? And I was like, no, my guy, I'm gone. And he was like, yeah, I'm gone too. Like it was just kind of, I liked it. I didn't mind that Brooke was like, you know what? Like, not right now, because you don't have to date everyone that asks. Just ask Austin.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you can politely pass and it's fine and you can stay friends.
Exactly.
I thought Joe played that really well. I remember the reaction the audience had. It made the audience like him even more. That he was such a cool guy about like pass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Then I remember, seeing him post training for True Blood. We got to know the super shredded Joe Manganiello, and I was like, oh my God, buddy.
Yeah.
He's
a werewolf.
I remember all of us kind of being like, is this the moment? Are we meant to be impressed or scared or maybe both? Are we both? We're both.
I like the feeling of both.
I remember he was telling us, it might have been while we were doing his last episode, he was telling us about the training. And I remember just going, that sounds awful.
Yeah. Were we sitting at lunch? I was there during a conversation when he was talking about training in a cafeteria.
Wake up, no food, nothing, on the treadmill for 45 minutes as a warm up. And then he would talk about the whole day. I was like, this sounds brutal.
I remember him being sick and talking about how he was hardcore, like sickness is in your mind. I am going to plow through this. I'm going to keep working out till I throw up. I got to keep going. I'm like, yeah, but dude, like you're sick. Like just, go to sleep for a day. It's fine.
Yeah. Like in 300, they just painted on the abs in 300. Like you don't have to have them.
Like I just don't get that. Whatever that mentality is that some people have with their athleticism, where they're like, yeah, I'll just do this till I puke. I'm like, or you could sit down before you throw up. You could just stop and not vomit.
Man, that's how all the football players do it. They just go until they puke.
Not for me.
Yeah, but that's why he was so good, like blocking for Nathan. Like he does the sports that he looked so football and Nathan looked so basketball. And so he had the best of both worlds in this episode.
It was
I dug
good.
that. And then poor Chad is just off by himself crying this whole episode.
He's having a rough episode.
He did great, though. I loved the way that he navigated all of this. I thought Julian was a real asshole for saying we're going to hire a whole new writer for one scene because that's not a union thing.
Oh, a new writer. I thought you were just saying you'd hire somebody to do that scene.
But ask any writer in Hollywood. It happens.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
But Chad did a really good job wrestling with the Keith, writing the Keith scene. I thought that was really interesting. It was good.
I loved him and Dan on the bench.
I did too.
Wow.
How did Dan find him?
They're always on the river court.
I mean, the fact that everybody always seems to know where everybody is in this town is unnerving.
Everybody's got air tags on.
But I really liked that he said he can't write it because he can't see it. He can't see it because he can't understand it. He's really tracking you through the whole thing. And the anger and the vulnerability in that scene between Lucas and Dan is so refreshing to see. Lucas as this adult processing what he went through as a kid. And I loved how matter-of-fact Dan was. Just like, this is what I did. It was quick and I have no answer. I'm just the villain in your story.
For somebody who doesn't remember as much as you guys do, when he said Keith had the shooter, what was his name?
Jimmy.
Keith had the shooter and then Dan shot him. Was that true, or was Dan just trying to have him be remembered in a different way? Is that how it went down?
That's exactly true.
It was true.
Okay.
I didn't like the last line, though. It felt like a cop-out. Like he was being honest. I really, even just for Lucas's sake, I wanted him to say, because Keith was better than me. I wanted him to say, because I was jealous.
Yeah, I was
wanted
jealous.
him to say, because I didn't want to have anybody else in my space. Whatever the line was.
Yeah.
I wanted that. The villain line felt kitschy to me.
That's a great point. He put it on Lucas. It's like, you need the villain, so I guess I'll do you the favor of fulfilling that role.
I mean, which is so Dan.
Yeah. Instead of owning his shit, being like, I was really jealous of my brother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bum out.
Gross.
But I do like the clarity there. And what a gift for Dan to finally just tell the truth instead of spinning it forever and ever.
Yeah.
I loved that. I could feel my own anxiety when Lucas finds that picture.
Yeah. I was so stressed for you.
Girl, I'm so glad that Peyton said something.
Thank God.
Before he showed her the picture, because it was clear she was going to tell him anyway.
Yeah.
You know?
No, that was really well done. You guys crushed that because you set up that you're like you just said, you want to get it out, but you're like, but he's writing again. He's happy.
He's focused.
I'm going to do it, but I just need to wait a second. And then you're like, no, it's really well done.
Oh, God. But I hated the last line and all of those really conceited lines, like, stop hitting on me. God, you really have to leave me alone. The last line of Lucas is like, so you guys dated in LA? And Peyton says, we were in love.
Agree.
Oh,
Did not like that.
No one would say that, right?
No one would say that.
No one.
I mean, it's such a dun-dun.
It's good to go out on a line like that for a show. But yeah, to me, it's like you would try to minimize. But yeah.
Yes.
Also, guys, did anybody track how weird it was in one of your flashback scenes where you're talking about having moved in with her? And I was like, oh my God, Julian and Peyton moved in together. Okay, tracking that. And then you say, I love you. And it's so clearly the first time you guys have said it to each other. And I was like, they moved in together before they told each other they loved each other.
I never
What
thought
is
of that.
happening?
You're right. I never thought of that. It's
rent in LA is expensive.
It's so expensive.
Let's just try this out for a little while.
Yeah.
Oops, I love you.
You seem fine.
That was one of my catches that I was like, what? And then the other one was through the whole slam ball game where, you know, you've got Nathan and Owen looking so badass. Every time they cut to you and I, Joy, it was the same clip.
Yeah.
They used it 3
Same
different
clip.
times. Us cheering was the exact same clip over and over.
Oh, I hate
I
that.
think they reused one of Joe too. Like for yelling at him.
What if that was on the footage?
I was going to say, I wonder if maybe some of that footage was what was damaged and they were like, we're just going to keep repeating what we got.
Yep. Because what are they going to reshoot a whole day of slam ball?
How many episodes has Haley been like losing her mind at this point about slam ball? It's your only storyline. I mean,
know.
they're so fixated on Haley being a nervous Nelly, and
Yeah.
there's
it's weird.
other stuff to do.
Yeah. It was so strange. But yeah, there's other stuff to do. I wish they would have come up with something else, but there were also there were new people with new storylines, and there was a lot of other things to focus on. Sometimes you just need something stable. So I understand just giving me a very, very minor D story for this part of the show. But yeah, like it just doesn't seem very Haley, although I don't know, Nathan's been wrecked for a long time, on and off, injured and bar fights and career taken away from him. And yeah, she is. She's become a very nervous Nellie. Her son was kidnapped.
Meanwhile,
God.
she'll give Jamie to Sam anytime. Like,
right.
Oh, that kid that kidnapped him the other night? Yeah,
Yeah,
you take
no problem.
him.
Go
yeah,
for
Dan,
it.
can you go pick him up from school for me?
Dan.
Great. Thanks, buddy. Like, what?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know where Haley's at.
She's just so worried about slam ball. That's what it is.
Yeah.
That's all she could think about.
All her worries in one bucket, so there's no more worry anywhere else.
Yeah. Trying to control something. Does he continue slam ball? Do we remember?
Yeah, how many episodes are there of Slam Ball?
Or does he quit after this?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
Because he says he doesn't need to. He says he's done. You know, he calls you two his best trophies. But
yeah.
can we trust it?
I know that was tough though, watching Jamie say don't play slam ball anymore because of, I always have a tough time with that. You know, I love the get back on the horse idea. When something is bad, it's good to end things on a good note instead of teaching your kids to just run away because something is scary or something bad happens.
Yeah.
But also, you know, it is tough. Sports, I mean, on that level is really intense. So
No, thank
I
you.
wonder what happens. I'm curious.
Dad went through glass. No, thank you. We went through a period where like our kids were really freaked out about zombies and like that being real.
Really? Oh, well, of course. Yeah. I don't, considering the show.
They don't like seeing their parents. They watched me die on an episode of The Walking Dead. They really didn't like that. Like kids shouldn't see their parents in peril.
No.
Did they ever see you guys? Like, I remember there's been times where I haven't taken the blood off and I've gone home. Have you ever gone home, or has Jeffrey ever come home without taking it off first? Or do you make sure to?
No, Jeffrey has flown home from Georgia with blood
Stop
coming
it.
out of his ears. You know,
Hilarious.
Because he can't see it. It's just like blood all over his neck and stuff. And I'm like, were you on the plane like this?
Everybody thinks he's a spy.
He'll go to school pickup,
probably why.
covered in blood, ballet recitals. Yeah, it's just mom and dad's work. But when your parents' work is something that makes you anxious as a kid, I think you take it really seriously when your kid says, don't do that anymore. Like when our kids say to us, I don't want you to leave. I don't want you to leave and go do that job. You know, we don't sometimes. You know, my kids have asked me, they're like, can you just work from home? Do you always have to travel? And so you as a parent, you're like, you know what? Yes.
Let me do
I
what
can
I
say
can.
yes to my kid. And so I like that Nathan is saying yes to his kid. He's finally prioritizing his family over the Dan Scott basketball dream. You know?
Well, it's his dream too. He loves it. He's so good at it.
But like, come on.
Well, but we need things. We need individual things. You can't just be all about everybody else in your life all the time. You have to be able to have something that feeds you so that you have something to give. So I struggle with that when I think about Nathan giving up basketball. Like, what is he going to do that's really going to feed his soul to give him a place to have something to
basketball, but the same way like every dude that's in a band in his 20s knows he's not going to be in a band in his 50s. And so you need to learn how to produce and you need to learn how to show promote and things like that. Like you pivot.
Yeah.
And that's a really important life skill. And so to see Nathan be like, okay, well, I don't need to keep playing. I don't need to prove anything anymore. I've proved that I can come back. Maybe it's time to pivot. You know, that confidence that's swagger. I like that.
Well, speaking of people on the other side of the court, Mouth, are we avoiding talking about Mouth and Gigi and this whole mess?
I did want to bring that up.
Bring it up. Tell us what you think, Austin.
As much as it's fun to watch, it's so over the top.
Yeah.
She comes on so strong. And then I remember this happened again with Julian and Jana Kramer's character, Alex.
Yeah.
And it's so strong that it makes me go, okay, that's a little over the top.
Whose fantasy are we playing
There's
out
a
right
pattern.
now?
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, you know, whatever. But I will say that Millicent claiming him with the kiss was
Yeah.
it was hilarious.
I'll show that little hussy. Do girls really talk that way as a man? Like, do people throw themselves at dudes that way?
Oh, that's a good question.
You know,
He has no idea how to answer this.
you know, it's rare that it's right off the bat. It usually comes later when you've established that there's a mutual connection, but right off the bat, it's rare. It happened? Yeah, I think so.
After repeated, like, I have a girlfriend.
Oh, I was thinking being single. You mean if you're in a relationship or in a marriage?
Yeah, like the Mouth and Gigi, like specifically the fact that she keeps throwing herself at Mouth. We've talked a lot as, you know, a group of women about how the fact that clearly there were no women having input on any of those scenes. Cause like, what are we talking about?
I mean, I'll be totally honest. I have had it happen to me while I was in a relationship. I've had a note passed to me with a phone number on it while I was with my girlfriend. And, you know, it doesn't happen very many times, but it does happen. It does happen. And, you know, I don't know what to say about that.
It's different though. Was it a stranger or someone that you knew?
Strange, never met. No.
I mean,
See, a
I
stranger
get it.
doesn't know
like,
your circumstance.
she doesn't know if it's a girlfriend or I've met somebody that way once. And I don't, like, if you don't know what the person's situation is,
Sure.
you know, hey, here's my number. I don't know if this is the first date that you're on right now or the, 100th, but call me if it's not serious.
So bold, Joy.
But I did. It was fun. But God, somebody coming up, like somebody that you know coming up to you and saying, I just want to be the one night stand that your girlfriend doesn't have to know about. Oh, does that happen?
Yeah.
I can't imagine.
No.
I could never.
No.
Yeah, it
No,
happens.
thank you.
Gross.
It happens. Yeah, there are people with, they get off on it or questionable, morals everywhere.
Maybe it's the fact that Gigi she seems so kind of innocent and cute about it and like, it's not a big deal, like, ha ha ha, whatever. it feels like trauma. Like it's
It
gross. It's
feels
icky.
like trauma. That's a great way to put it.
Yeah, and the one that like she does it when they're interviewing James at Slam Ball, and then she says "sexy" to mouth like right after they cut. That one, I'm like, okay, if this was happening behind closed doors, it'd be more realistic. But that stuff is all like, hard to swallow.
Yeah. So we'll do a fan question. So, okay, the listener question is from Jess, and she says, well, is this related to this episode? Because Brooke and Owen just broke up. Oh, okay.
It's because everyone knows what's coming.
We know where it's going. Okay, Jess wants to know, does it bother you guys that Julian is Peyton's ex? Brooke deserves her own man.
Ooh.
Snap.
I mean, Lucas is also Brooke's ex. So, like, I don't know.
It's all so incestuous in Tree Hill.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't bother me personally.
It bothers me.
It bothers me a little bit too, because it's just like,
I mean, how long has it been? How long is it? What's the time lapse between Peyton and Julian?
I don't even know the answer to that, because how long has Peyton been home? Like, was it the breakup with Julian that spawned Peyton to call Brooke at the beginning of season 5 and be like, I want to go home?
Oh no.
I think so often when you're writing a series, you bring people in as love interests and you're not sure if it's going to pan out.
Mm-hmm.
I think, this was not necessarily, I don't think they knew what this would become by the end of season 9 with marriage and kids. And had they known that, they might have done the beginning different. So much of television like this is about the love triangle, as we all know. And it makes it so fun to watch. But that's one of the X factors that I think audiences may not always kind of know is, you bring somebody in and you're like, you see if it's going to work.
Yeah.
And Brooke did get her own man. She got the right man. It wasn't right with Peyton and Julian, so it didn't work out. So
Here's the thing that's a little different is that, like, Brooke dumped Lucas. Like, Brooke was in the driver's seat. Like, you are not living up to my expectations enough, right? So Brooke dumped him. Julian dumped Peyton. And so in my mind, I'm like, Brooke should be like, Kim, that guy dumped you for what? And he left you after you packed your bags for Sundance? What a creep. Yeah. It's the person who does the dumping really changes the situation.
I can see that.
That's all I'm gonna say.
I can see that.
Yeah. But it is actually really interesting when you think about it that way, right?
I didn't remember that he dumped Peyton. I did not remember that part.
Well, and by the way, that he did it because he said, I'm sick of having to share you with Lucas. Like, he saw through it. And there is something really interesting that is hitting me in real time that Brooke and Julian both said, like, we're involved in a toxic thing that isn't even about us. I'm out.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's kind of interesting that in a way, like, we both got burned by the same other relationship from two different ends of it.
Right, well, I didn't think about that.
I wonder if we bonded over that.
That's a smart analysis. You're like, let's ditch these losers.
We deserve better, damn it.
Stro.
I feel like we could talk for hours with you, Austin. I'm so glad that you joined us for this.
Oh, thank you for having me. And also, can I come back for another episode?
Yeah. Do you have a specific one?
The one that jumps to mind is when Brooke and I crashed the car into the water.
Yes.
Wait, there's another car crash in water?
Yes.
Danger.
Yeah. In
Off a
season,
bridge.
was it
Off
season
a bridge?
7 or 8?
So was mine, off a bridge. I mean, Nathan's, but.
But remember, you drove up at the end of it.
And Joy, you were there.
You drive up at the end of it, Joy.
Drive up and I'm like, we're Brooke in the rain.
What? She blacked it out.
Yeah.
Done.
Well, that'll be fun to relive.
Yeah.
Jamie was there.
Yeah, he was in the car with us.
He was in the car with us. Yeah.
Oh, so I was giving him CPR.
Oh,
No.
God.
No.
I think the only CPR was me giving Brooke CPR, and then
It
Jamie
was.
was fine. We got him out, and then he ran to you guys, I think.
Well, let's have you back
Poor
for that
Jamie.
episode because I do not remember. I know that part.
That'll be a fun one. That would be super fun.
Yeah.
You guys, next week, we've got season 6, episode 10 next week. Even fairy tale characters would be jealous. Austin, you're a fucking delight. We're going to spin a wheel. So you have to pick a real life person from our One Tree Hill family and then a character from the show that fits this bill. And this week we have most likely to cry at every single movie they watch. So which character do we think cries at everything?
Character.
Oh, great question.
Skills.
I was going to say Skills, though, because he got notebooked, but Brooke is also a tender creature.
Well, Sophia's the real life version for sure.
Yeah, I cry every movie all the time. Dog food commercials make me
Commercials.
cry. Shut up.
Baby.
I know. It's a killer.
We love
Here
our
we
tender
are.
creatures.
Just a little sensitive gal.
All right, you guys. Austin's coming back. He said it here
Bringing him back.
first.
Bye. Hey, thanks for listening.
Don't forget to leave us a review. You can also follow us on Instagram at Drama Queens OTH.
Or email us at dramaqueens@iHeartRadio.com.
See you next time.
We're all about that high school drama girl, all about them high school queens. We'll take you for a ride in our comic girl, cheering for the right team. Drama queens, smart girl, rough girl, fashion but you're tough girl. You could sit with us, girl. Drama queens, drama queens, drama queens, drama queens, drama queens.